Clear Lake City Council of Tuesday, September 6, 2022 shall come to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Motion to approve the agenda, please.
So offered.
Second.
Moved by Mike, seconded by Mark, that we approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Now to the consent agenda. You have a copy of the minutes of August 15th, 2022. We need approval of the bills and claims, of which you also have a copy. And we have the following licenses and permits: liquor license Class E, liquor license, that's Quick Shop, that's a renewal. We have a street closing request from the Clear Lake Chamber of Commerce for the Harvest Festival, and that's October 1st. Motion, please.
So, second.
Moved by Gary, seconded by Dana, that we approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Now is the time and place for anyone in the audience who wishes to address the council on any issue or concern that is not on the agenda. Please approach the podium, state your name first and last so the clerk can properly enter it in the minutes. This is not a discussion time nor a question and answer time, and you have 3 to 5 minutes. None appearing, we'll move on to unfinished business, and right prior to that, I have some gentlemen here that need to get to another council meeting that's being held at the same time right now, and these are members of the Filmmakers Week proclamation. I will read that proclamation to you now. This is a joint effort between Clear Lake and Mason City. Whereas the North Iowa area have a long and rich history of movie making, and whereas the Iowa Independent Film Festival, now in its 15th year, runs from September 9th to 11th in Clear Lake and Mason City, and whereas the Thursday night local filmmakers showcase will celebrate the films made within a one-county area of Saragordo County. And whereas the competitive festival will show 51 of 215 submitted from 17 different countries. And whereas there will be a special open house event at Clear Lake's Renovo Media Group facility for filmmakers on this Thursday at 2:30. Whereas the films range in length from 2.5 minutes to over 100 minutes and represent a range of styles, including feature, documentary, animation, and experimental. And whereas dozens of producers, directors, and actors from all over the country and the world will attend the festival to discuss their films. And whereas nightly networking socials will be held to give filmmakers and the public a chance to mingle, discuss ideas, and make plans for the future. Now, I, therefore, as mayor of Clear Lake, in conjunction with the mayor of Mason City, Iowa, do hereby proclaim September 5th through the 11th as Filmmakers Week in North Iowa. And also want to make all of you aware that we recently had released here a documentary called The Day the Music Died, filmed here mostly in Clear Lake, and that, of course, represented the song of Don McLean. We have representatives here tonight representing the Filmmakers Week, and we thank you for being here and showing your support. Thank you. Now we'll move on to new business. 6A, Consolidated Urban Renewal Area Economic Development Project Review Proposal. Mr. Flory, welcome, Scott.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Run through some of the items here in the packet with you just a moment, but in the way of background, seems like we've been talking about this forever, by the way, but this meeting, one more to go. So the July 18th meeting, the council had undertaken some amendments and modifications to our Clear Lake Consolidated Urban Renewal Plan and TIF districts, and that was for the purpose of incorporating some new projects, specifically 3 economic development projects. First one's the Starboard Square Leasehold Improvement Forgivable Loan. Second one was the Pritchard Innovation Center and Lake Lifestyle Properties Tax Rebate Agreement. And last but not least was the Serta Simmons Building Property Redevelopment Tax Rebate and Agreement. So we completed the process of amending our consolidated urban renewal plan to incorporate these three projects here recently, of course. Just as a reminder, we held the consultation meeting with the other affected taxing entities of Cerro Gordo County. That was done on July 29th, and then also the city's Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed the plan amendment at its regular meeting on July 26th as well. So then we published a notice of public hearing on that in the newspaper on August 4th, and then again at the following council meeting we held the public hearing on that and approved on August 15th the final amendment to that plan and the TIF ordinance. So council can now act on the development agreement with Momberg Land LLC for the Starboard Square lease improvement project and set the date for the public hearing on the proposed development agreements for the other two projects, which we've mentioned in the past are attempting to seek various state grants and incentives through the High Quality Job Program at the Iowa Economic Development Authority. So again, as we've talked about probably 3 meetings prior to this, one of the requisites was local support from the local government and the community where the project's located. So public hearing will be held on the September 19th council meeting, and we would publish notice of the public hearing in the newspaper on September 8th. So just kind of walk through some of these items on these 3 projects here in the packet with you. The first green sheet in your packet is a resolution authorizing the development agreement with Momberg Land LLC and authorizing an internal advance of funding for a forgivable loan thereunder. Again, just kind of hit some of the highlights in this resolution. This, of course, is in order to make the city's cost. Nelson had asked me about this earlier. What does the internal advance mean? So essentially what that means is we're pledging funds from one city fund to another fund for purposes of establishing an internal debt so that we can recoup these costs through incremental property taxes within that urban renewal district. So, and that amount is $50,000. So that does not mean an advance to the project developer. It simply means an advance internally within our own accounting. The $50,000 would be advanced from the city's general fund in order to fund the forgivable loan, and then it would be reimbursed with revenues later received through the tax increment fund. So the blue sheets that follow that are the Economic Development Forgivable Loan Agreement. Again, this is for the renovation of the existing commercial building there at 1311 Bayou Road. This would involve business operations related to the development of a restaurant at that location. The forgivable loan, economic development forgivable loan, be used by the developer to pay the costs of constructing and maintaining the project in terms of leasehold improvements. Developer agrees to substantially complete the project by no later than December 31st. And I think I told you previously, that's a pretty conservative date. They anticipate that the project will actually be done long prior to that and that the business would be operational by December 1st. So again, all things as anticipated. So the developer agrees to use the completed project in their business operations throughout the term of this agreement, which the term would be a 7-year agreement. Developer would create 15 to 20 full-time and part-time equivalent positions. Forgivable loan disbursement request upon completion of the project. Then the developer would request and submit to the city a forgivable loan disbursement request. The disbursement request would be accompanied by documentation of project costs, detailing costs of the project incurred in the completion, such as invoices and other documents that the city might request. The forgivable loan, the city will not advance the proceeds of the forgivable loan to the developer until the developer submitted the forgivable loan disbursement request and also a promissory note. A developer agrees to apply the proceeds of the forgivable loan to the payment of the required improvements. Developer's obligation to repay the forgivable loan shall be evidenced again by the promissory note that will be filed with the city. Developer agrees to submit an annual report to the city each year no later than December 15th. We'd be starting not this December 15th, but the next December 15th, so December 15th of 2023. That would continue that requirement until December 15th of 2029, demonstrating that the business operation requirements are met and that the developer owns the property and the project. So Property taxes, developer agrees to make and ensure timely payment of property taxes. The forgivable loan forgiveness upon receipt of the satisfactory annual report, then the developer, in determining that the developer would be in compliance with the requirements of this particular loan agreement, the city would forgive 1/7 of the principal amount of the forgivable loan. Again, that would be up to your discretion each year to determine whether or not those requirements were satisfied and whether or not you were going to forgive the 1/7. So. And I did want to also mention, I think I mentioned this before, that the developer and tenant have entered into a 10-year lease agreement for that building. So that's probably enough on that one. Unless anyone has any questions on that, I'll move on to the next one, which is the Pritchard Companies project.
Council, any questions for the Momberg, Glenn?
Yeah, I apologize. I know we've talked about this probably 3 or 4 times, so it's probably old hat to you, but I'm going to go over it all again. It's just like the budget all over again. So. The yellow sheets in your packet, resolution setting the date for a meeting at which we propose to approve a development agreement with Pritchard Companies, including annual appropriation tax increment payments. Again, the resolution there in your packet just sets the date for the public hearing on that. The public hearing would be held on September 19th, 6 o'clock here in the council chambers. And again, we published notice on this at your council meeting, or excuse me, in the newspaper on September 8th and of the council meeting on September 19th. So again, the development agreement on this is with Pritchard Companies. The company's undertaken the redevelopment and renovation of the former Teen Quest property here in Clear Lake. That's for use in corporate headquarters of Pritchard Companies and Pritchard Commercial Pritchard EV. It also includes the redevelopment of the former downtown gas station for the Lake Lifestyles project, and that would be used in conjunction with the headquarters project. As I mentioned previously, the project is considering application to the state for IEDA high-quality jobs application, so this is again going to dovetail with a lot of those requirements that the state imposes on the applicants. We would have those same requirements as part of this as it relates to salaries and benefits and those kinds of things. So again, the Pritchard is committing to create 30 full-time equivalent positions here as a result of this. And again, the city would require documentation on the October 15th of each year that the term of this agreement is ongoing, that they have satisfied all of those high-quality job criteria in order to be eligible for the property tax rebate for this. So. The payments, as I mentioned, this would be a 7-year property tax rebate, so we'd have 14 semi-annual economic development property tax rebate payments back to the company in a cumulative amount not to exceed $250,000. This would be also subject to annual appropriations, so like the McKesson project and Marriott project, same thing there, that this is one of those that you'll approve an annual appropriation resolution for prior to December 1st of each year, starting the next December 1st. So again, that would just give you the opportunity to ensure that all of those requirements are being met before you would make that annual appropriation. So. Move on to the next one, which of course is the Serta Simmons redevelopment here. So very similar to the Pritchard property. This would be property tax rebate 7-year, not to exceed $375,000. All the same kinds of requirements related to the high quality job components for the Iowa Economic Development Authority. Same annual appropriation provisions there as well. Going to create not less than 15 full-time equivalent positions at this. We expect it'll be much higher than that, but that's a pretty conservative projection at this point. And again, schedule the date for the public hearing this evening, publish notice on the 8th, and then hold the public hearing on the 19th. So I don't have any further background information on any of those unless anyone has any questions.
So both the Pritchard proposal here is August 19th, as is the September, what did I say? August, yeah.
You were close.
I was jumping around. As is the Serta
Yep, both will have public hearings on September 19th, and publication of the notice will be on Thursday, September 8th.
Any other comments or questions for Scott, council? Thank
Yeah.
you.
Just
Go
real
ahead.
quick, Mayor, if I could, again, thank you, Scott, for presenting that again. I know you've done that several times now, which, again, frankly, I always enjoy because it, again, reminds people of the kind of economic development activity we have going on in Clear Lake. And I frankly am one that think that's tremendously exciting, both with all three of them, actually. So, again, I think this is a good partnership with the state, the city, and private capital. So look forward to seeing these develop. Thank you, Mayor.
Speaking of that, in the Pritchard agreement, that they must follow what IEDA has asked them to do.
Both. So both the Serta Simmons redevelopment project as well as the Pritchard Company's project are considering applications to the Iowa Economic Development Authority's high-quality job program. So they would be encumbered by those criteria to be eligible for those benefits. But even if they don't, we've adopted those same criteria for our development agreement, so they'd have to comply with those anyway.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Scott. For council, I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2260, a resolution authorizing development agreement with Momberg Land LLC and authorizing internal advance for funding of a forgivable loan thereunder. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Gary, seconded by Mike, that we approve Resolution 2260. Is there any discussion? Roll call. Mark?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yes.
And Dana?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Resolution 2260 is duly adopted. And now, a motion to approve Resolution 2261, a resolution setting a date of a meeting, which is September 19th, which is proposed to approve a development agreement with Pritchard Companies, including annual appropriation tax increment payments.
So moved.
Moved by Bennett, seconded by Mark, that we approve Resolution 2261. Is there any discussion? Roll call. Mike?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Yes.
Dana?
Yes.
And Mark?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Resolution 2261 is duly adopted. Now I entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2262, a resolution setting a date of a meeting which shall be September 19th, at which it is proposed to approve a development agreement with a private developer, including annual appropriation tax increment payments.
Second.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Gary, that we approve Resolution 2262. Is there any discussion? Roll call. Gary?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yes.
Dana?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
And Mike? Motion carries 5-0. Resolution 2262 is duly adopted. Thank you. 6B, Emerald Edge First Subdivision, the preliminary plat.
Council, we have the yellow sheet there in your packet is resolution approving the preliminary plat for Emerald Edge First Subdivision here in Clear Lake. Just in terms of some background, of course, we've talked about this quite a bit as well. Back at your regular meeting in October, it was October 26th actually, the city's Planning and Zoning Commission had reviewed the preliminary plat and recommended the council approve that. However, there were some things in that plat that weren't quite complete yet. So specifically, we had some issues with the drainage district that needed to be resolved, DD 40, I believe it is, as well as the DOT at that point had not yet authorized the Jade Street entrance on the connection onto US Highway 18. So Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed that at their meeting again on October 26th. While they gave it a favorable recommendation, we sat on it until some of those things had some clarity behind them. And now, of course, we're well past that. DOT has, if you've been out there recently, probably figured out by now that they've long since authorized that connection into US Highway 18 that's under construction, those turn lanes there, as well as Drainage District 40 approving that Drainage District connection there. So those things have all been approved, so we're now bringing it forward for the council to review and approve the preliminary plat. Again, of course, you're all familiar with the subdivision site located between North 14th and North 20th Street. full subdivision with water, sewer, storm sewer, all the private public infrastructure being constructed there by the developer. Of course, property was formerly used for agricultural purposes. It's currently zoned intensive commercial, CI1, as well as medium density multifamily residential, RM20, and that area is west of North 14th Street. And of course, Lot 1 is the location for the future Hy-Vee grocery store that's proposed, again, on that 6.5-acre lot. The owner of the property, of course, is Suka Bag LLC. So I'd just add that I've had a number of conversations with the owners about other development projects. You know, the interest is high in development there, and some good projects, I think, have, you know, some opportunities there. So excited about that. So happy to move that one on.
Any questions for Scott, council? Thank you, Scott. Therefore, entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2263, a resolution approving preliminary plat for Emerald Edge 1 subdivision.
So moved.
Moved by Gary, seconded by Bennett, that we approve Resolution 2263. Is there any discussion? Roll call. Bennett,
Yes.
Dana,
Yes.
Mark, Mike,
Yes.
and Gary.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Resolution 2263 is duly adopted. 6C, rezoning request 2605 South Shore Drive, RS5 to RS8. Review of proposal. Mr. Flory.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. We had the opportunity to meet with a developer on this particular matter. It involves a rezone request for 2605 South Shore Drive. You remember that was the location previously discussed for the RV sanctuary project, campground project there that was voted down by both the Planning and Zoning Commission and the City Council. I think that was at your August 1st meeting that took place. So, you know, at that meeting, I just point out too that we did have some neighbors that had suggested that the council consider the existing zoning, which of course is RS5, and the need for housing at that location. So happy to report that had a meeting here recently with a developer on behalf of the property owners there, and they seem to have gotten that message and heard that need for the housing. So they focused on a housing development project for that location. Originally, they had thought about the scope of the request for the rezone from RS5 to RS8. They were looking at some twin home construction in there as well as some single family construction there as well. So RS5, I think you're all well aware, is the low density single family residential. RS8 would be medium density single family residential. So originally we had started talking with them about the eastern maybe third of that property that would be developed into twin home type, you know, duplex type development there, and it was going to involve, I think, 6 lots out of about 22. Well, they've actually now have requested to expand that scope. So when I originally prepared this resolution, that was the understanding. I think after the developer and landowners caucused about a little more, they decided that they wanted to pursue some greater flexibility on the site and rezone the entire property from RS5 to RS8. So in that case, I had advised them that probably the preferred route would be for them to meet with the homeowner, schedule the neighborhood association meeting there. They could have it here at the office, but they would have to get the signatures, pursue that route under the zoning ordinance on their own, and that it would not be a direct referral from the council if they were talking about the entire parcel, and which they are, and they want to pursue that. And to their credit, they were very open about the concept of having a neighborhood meeting with the area residents there. So tentatively, we talked about that for September 14th at 5:30 here at the office here. So they'll be putting together a letter and sending that out to the area residents there, inviting them for a presentation on the project that they want to do. So we got a few changes on that resolution. So in the preamble, it does not simply involve a portion of the property. So we would strike that, and the resolution would read, a resolution setting the date for a public hearing on a proposal to amend the official land use and zoning maps of the city and rezone the property located at 2605 South Shore Drive from RS5 to RS8. So we would strike the words as, a portion of, and then it would end after RS8. So everybody clear on that? So, okay, and then, so down in the resolution, that first, now therefore be it resolved, that would be stricken, and it would not be a referral to the planning and zoning, but the obligation would then be on the developer to get the necessary signatures. I think it's 50% of the properties within 200 feet of the parcel to be rezoned. They would have to get those signatures, and then it could get agendized for the planning and zoning commission meeting by that route, for their meeting. I think it's September 27th. So with the meeting on September 14th, the developer would try to get those signatures at that meeting or shortly thereafter, and then that could then meet the requirements to get on the agenda for that Planning and Zoning Commission meeting on the 27th. So the scope of this resolution for you tonight would simply be to establish October 3rd as a date for a public hearing on that, and then prescribe notice in the newspaper. So we would publish notice in the newspaper on September 22nd that there would be a public hearing here in the chambers on October 3rd on a proposal to rezone that property from RS5 to RS8. So again, that's on the assumption that would be the developer could get the necessary signatures. Now, we do have, so he would have that meeting again on September 14th. We would have another meeting on September 19th. So there would be an opportunity that you could consider a referral on your accord at that meeting. So I would just emphasize that Clear Lake certainly needs housing. That came through loud and clear at the Planning and Zoning Commission. Councilmember Smith and I were there, and that was overwhelmingly the bulk of the comments there. And this land certainly presents a viable opportunity to add to the community's housing stock. It's currently zoned RS5. This is just one simple notch above that, from low density residential to medium density residential, basically just to increase the opportunity to add some twin homes into the development if the developer is inclined to do that. So again, I think we would hope for good cooperation between the neighborhood and the developers. But I think, again, when we look at the overarching needs in the community, certainly housing is a big one. And, so we would hope that that is greeted positively.
Review here real quick, Scott. Within the resolution, we're setting a date for a public hearing on October 3rd. Prior to that, however, there will be a neighborhood meeting September 14th here in this council chambers. With the developers and the neighbors.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
End quote, and we end it, and we have a period at the end of RS8 within the resolution.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, anything I missed?
No, I would just say, I had, good conversation with the developer. A couple of you also did as well, and I'm impressed. Good background. I don't see any red flags. I've done some development as close by as Webster City, and the development that he did there would certainly be an asset to the community and to that area. So it's.
I think the guy has a very positive history from my standpoint, what I've researched that I've done, and I believe his home is in Hiawatha, and he's they call it Ridge Developers, and he is Brian Ridge,
Right.
and he spoke to us, and I felt he was quite sincere in what he expressed himself at that time.
It definitely seems, kept repeating, wanted to do it right, and didn't want to take any shortcuts. So once again, I think the development business for housing is risky business. It's difficult. Communities struggle with it all over the place. So we want to be a welcoming community, good community, and again, I just emphasize we would expect some good cooperation.
Correct. I believe he's in Decorah at the
He's
present time.
done numerous
Yeah.
projects around the state. The Webster City was the closest. I believe he indicated his wife was the hospital administrator there. And so he'd done some projects there, but also working with Hy-Vee pretty extensively in Sheraton on some projects. But quick Google research on him, he's appeared in a lot of communities and doing a lot of development and gotten some pretty attractive incentives to be there in some of those communities. So certainly welcome his involvement and interest in our community, and appreciate the landowners shifting gears away from an RV park to something like this.
Right. Any other comments, questions, council?
I've got a couple. I was fortunate enough to attend this meeting, and first of all, we had several entities from North Iowa represented to listen to his presentation, and I think I have the same vibe that you got, Scott. The guy's done a lot of different developments. He had lots of visuals for us to look at. He had what appeared to be a very workable plan, and I guess I would like to at least see this move forward and have an opportunity to become a reality, because it does address a very serious shortage need in our community. So anyway, I'm sure willing to move this, hopefully see this move forward and have a chance to see what he can come up with for the final circumstance.
Well said. Any other comments?
Yes, Mayor, I would just echo that. I think, again, we have such a strategic need for housing in our community, and I hope this will be a good project there, so I want to support that. Also want to thank the collaborative approach here between the developer, Scott, and the timeline that you've laid out here in the process, because I think it kind of honors the desire of the neighborhood to have that public meeting with the developer, and that they have to get signatures in order to change the zoning regs. And I had discussed that previously from the dais here. So again, I think that's a very positive process. The developer was very receptive to that, if I remember right. And so I think, again, and yet it's a timeline that can advance the project yet for this fall, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
That's the goal. That's why we're kind of acting on this now. And again, it's like we had said before, their schedule was interest in getting underground infrastructure in this
Yeah.
fall, and then starting right away in the spring with some housing construction.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate the neighborhood's concern to have housing there as well. And so I think that meeting will be well attended. And so thank you again for working that out with the developer.
Yeah, I would just say, again, the diagram that we saw that was kind of just originally laid out, I thought was well done.
Yeah.
Of 22 lots, 16 were slated for a single-family residential, which would be in complete compliance with what the zoning is now. So very few were going to have the zoning to RS8. So, again, I think we'll be interested to see how those meetings go again.
You bet. Thank you.
Any other comments, council? Again, thanks, Scott, appreciate it. Therefore, entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2263, a resolution setting the date for a public hearing, which shall be October 3rd here in the council chambers, on a proposal to amend the official land use and zoning map of the city of Clear Lake and rezone a portion of the property located at 2605 South Shore Drive from RS5, low-density, single-family residential, to RS8, medium-density, single-family residential. Motion, please.
So offered.
Second.
Moved by Mike, seconded by Gary, that we approve Resolution 2263. Is there any discussion? Roll call. Dana?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
And Bennett?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Resolution 2263 is duly adopted. Thank you. Surf District, excuse me, Surf District Destination Iowa Placemaking Grant Application Review and Update. Scott, Mr. Flory.
Yes, thanks, Mayor. Hopefully everybody can see that better. Thanks, Pete. So if you recall here, we've been working on this about a month. It was about a month ago that the council had authorized RDG to, if you remember back, we had the Surf District Revitalization Plan for 2008, and the state of Iowa has authorized the Destination Iowa funding, the placemaking initiative on that. So the council had authorized RDG to update that SURF district plan so that we can develop a vision, that we could formulate an application to the state for those Destination Iowa placemaking funds. So go to the next slide here. I'll kind of try to go through this fairly quickly. It's semi-lengthy, but this is just kind of our introduction and purpose. World-class assets are present in the SURF district, yet the connections to their surroundings beg for new design that strengthens the image of the district. The concepts for the future intend to offer more memory-making experiences for visitors and provide opportunities for economic development, ultimately creating a stronger national destination in north central Iowa. And that's one of the key things that they've been stressing about with the emphasizing in the applications that they want to see is things that are attractive to visitors that are outside of the state of Iowa. So that's kind of our goal here, is to make the district more appealing to a broader audience, even though already it's certainly fulfills that. So. The next slide, the Destination SURF concepts in the plan leverage the significance of the SURF ballroom and creates a network of connections to its surroundings to transform the area into a stronger SURF district. The development possibilities, so again, you can just kind of see there in the blue, of course, is the ballroom itself, and on the next page is sort of a bird's eye perspective, a schematic of some of the visions that we'll talk through here in just a little bit. Mobility initiatives, on this we're looking at vehicular movements, pedestrian movements, so we've got the letters that kind of identify these locations, so I'll kind of go through those for those that can't read all that. On A is defining crosswalks, improve that, crosswalks with increased pedestrian traffic during events should be more clearly marked, and we've considered potential use of art features, using the street sort of as a canvas at those locations. B is the Allen's Alley, that segment of Allen's Alley between the Three Stars Plaza and what we would propose for the boutique hotel. We would plan that to be a drop-off area for patrons for the hotel, and that we would probably look at that as like an extended speed table requiring motorists to enter slowly. C, way up there to the north towards the highway, the improvement of the railroad crossing vicinity, the entrance from the highway into the SURF district on Buddy Holly there, improving the conditions of that surface pavement. I think pretty well everyone knows after the railroad crossing, the pavement's deteriorating there, so we look at improving that, improving sidewalks, adding turf improvements to improve the appearance, lighting improvements, shrubs, flowers, landscaping, as well to add color and character to that entrance off of the highway. Again, there's about 18,000 cars a day that travel past that, so trying to create a more attractive environment there for motorists coming off of Highway 18 to invite them into the SURF district. D, the Glen Cove Drive and 8th Avenue. We've looked at creating a T intersection at that location to manage traffic better for the residential area there to the west. And E, just there at North Shore Drive, intersection functionality improvements, nothing significant there. The placemaking initiatives, looks like we're missing part of that one, but we're missing, no, go, no. Oh, okay, well, I'm not sure what happened with that. So go back to, okay, it's going to be impossible to really see and tell too much here, but the yellow circles represent gateway features. The red development opportunity, well, we don't even have the red on there. I'm not sure what happened to this. Development opportunities, the green are promenades, that's not on there either, and the blue are roadway features. So gateway features mark the arrival to the district. Some are major installations of artwork, while others are more minor in scale, but in rhythm with the major art installations that we would install there. Provide opportunity for interpretation, history, culture, and create moments for taking pictures. The roadway features are expression of design through banners, graphics, and landscaping, act sort of as breadcrumbs throughout the district to reinforce the image of the district. The promenades, increase pathways, opportunities for connection between the lake and North Shore Drive and the Surf Ballroom. And the development sites are opportunities where we could introduce economic development activities into the district. So this would be a representation. Goes back to the original 2008 plan. So some of these art features are simply placeholders for the time being, but that's the location there at the north Buddy Holly, the intersection of the highway. So something like that might look like, like the Fender Stratocaster guitar look. So. The next sheet is what that intersection of North Shore and Buddy Holly would look like. So some of this is visioning. So it invites you to consider a broad range of things that some may happen, some may not. So you can see Redstone there in the background, and this is what that perspective would look like if you were at the intersection of North Shore Drive and Buddy Holly Place, and the Lighthouse Motel and the Demro Clinic were not there. You can see how the area opens up quite a bit and creates opportunities for open space for people to have those opportunities. So, the next one is, I think, a really great vision. I understand it was a drone footage here from the surf that had this taken. I'm not sure who did it, but I think it's a really beautiful picture of what things look like from a bird's eye perspective. You can see really, I think here, the need to create that nexus between the water, the lake, and the surf ballroom. So really our two greatest assets, one the natural asset and the other a man-made asset, but you can see what it's really just begging for that opportunity to create that link with Clear Lake and the surf ballroom. The next sheet just kind of identifies that same area where we would look to create the locations for connections to the lake for the promenade. So one on the left is Beach Drive, and the other is, again, right out the front door of the surf ballroom. The next slide, just an example of potential promenades that we could look at to create those walkway connections to the lake. The next one's just an example of the use of public art to help try to strengthen and emphasize that connection to the water. And again, the next one, go over that one. Skip that one. So the next one looks at the opportunity. You see the front entrance to the surf ballroom. And then the White House is 453 North Shore Drive, and then the Fox House, showing just one possibility to create that linkage between the surf ballroom and the lake. So that was one thing we looked at initially, and then we got to thinking, how could we improve upon that? So. The next slide is the front view from the street, North Shore Drive, if you were standing at the surf, looking out, and the White House is 453 North Shore Drive. The next slide, again, just kind of that angled walk if we were looking at cutting through where the Fox House landscaping is to try to create a connection to the lake. The next one really shows a direct straight line connection out the front door to the surf to the lake. So you can just see how it lines up with the water. It goes right through the White House there at 453 North Shore Drive. So you can, what that is designed to represent is just the direct connection from the front door of the surf to the lake. So just gives you an idea of what that looks like. The next one, again, just kind of the same look. Next one is just an artist rendition of if the house, you can't necessarily see it here, but the house, the White House there, 453, is still superimposed there, but what it would look like without that house located there. And it really opens things up to create a great synergistic relationship between Clear Lake and the surf ballroom there. So shows the promenade, walk all the way to the lake, and then the dock development there, and then the connection with the Fox House docks as well. So the next one, we're going to flip through this one and the next one really quick because this is the before. Whoops, no, you did it too fast. There's the before picture. There's the next picture, which is the after picture. So that before and after again. I think that's really amazing what that looks like without that there. It really opens up that view with the lake. The next slide is just, again, an example of what that might look like if you were walking to the lake on a promenade there. So some art features. So next one is just what it might look like in the evening, that location. The next one we're going to do before and after again here. So here is the lake perspective with the White House there, what it looks like before, and the next slide will be without it. That, I think, is an amazing view. The next one is just an example of what the area looks like with the promenade and the docks out there on the lake. It connects to the surf, connects to the docks for the Fox. The next one is how that would look in the evening. The next slide is just, again, the kind of a look if you were standing kind of in the southwest corner, sort of a beach drive there, what Three Stars Plaza, you can see how that looks from that angle. The next one, you can see the proposed boutique-style hotel there in the background. So go to the next slide, which is development initiatives. So in this case, these are the red circles that you couldn't see before, but we'll go through these. Number one is the Oaks Hotel project. So these development initiatives show sites that could be redeveloped to help the district become more complete with destinations, introduce more lodging, eating, retail, housing, and sports space for the surf. So number one is the Oaks Hotel redevelopment project, celebrates the historic hotel that was destroyed in 1922 with a new boutique-style hotel. Number two is the Surf Annex projects, provides support space for activities for the surf ballroom with an activated rooftop for entertainment. Number three is a lighthouse project celebrating the beloved lighthouse drive-in that was there and removed back in the late 70s with commercial and exhibit space. And number four is mixed-use development opportunities to capitalize on those underutilized properties with a mix of housing and retail. So this one I really like, artist rendition. You can see Three Stars Plaza with the Oaks Hotel reincarnated there in the background, as well as the Allen's Alley construction there with the drop-off of the hotel, as well as the surf ballroom annex there. So the next one, again, just a historical photo of the Oaks Hotel and what we would contemplate to replace that 1893 structure with a more modern 21st century structure, but still pay homage to the history of that building. So. Next one, again, just kind of another look at the hotel and what it looks like today. Then we looked at just some character possibilities for the new boutique hotel. So the next few slides just kind of give some examples of some of the things that we looked at. Keep going. So that is, again, if you're looking east from the hotel, you see the former Allen's Alley there redeveloped as a drop-off location for the proposed boutique hotel with the speed table drop-off area there, and then the surf annex property there in the background. So, the next one is the mixed-use annex. So again, this program contemplates a 1 to 2 story building, rooftop garden, rooftop restaurant, bar, patio, look out over the lake, be open, of course, to the public. The style of the architecture would be reimagined from the original surf ballroom. There would be 4 dressing rooms there. The White House next to the Fiddler's Den would be replaced with this structure. And so again, those dressing rooms are located there now and would currently be put in this structure. Hospitality meeting rooms, conference room, retail ticket space, visitor center, kitchen space, storage, laundry, offices, all those kinds of things. So the next slide's just some examples of what we took into consideration in terms of the design for, conceptual design for that annex property. Again, just a little more of the same. So go to the lighthouse one next. And so I think probably everyone here is familiar with the former A&W Lighthouse drive-in there. And that would be long-term, that would be where the Legacy restaurant is located now, but that would be a welcome center, exhibit space, possible food service, restaurant, and potentially maybe a small theater there possibly as well. One thing that we really like about that is that it, of course, pays homage to the history of that structure here in the community, but also opens up the view of the surf ballroom and the property as you're coming down Buddy Holly Place by removing that structure. So there's just another view of that. The mixed-use projects, these are just placeholder designs here. We do have some interest in some of these by private developers, waiting to see what the outcome of the SURF district projects will be before they would proceed with their development plans, but definitely have interest in both of those properties, some fairly strong interest in the one on the north. But again, as I say, they're kind of waiting to see what happens with the future for this project before we go forward. So. And then just some ideas that we looked at for potential design character there. The next one just again shows kind of what it would look like in the SURF district if these things were put into place. Again, you can see the connection to the lake there right out the front door of the SURF, the Oaks Hotel, Three Stars Plaza, the Annex, and the two mixed-use properties, as well as the Lighthouse, and then the enhanced landscaping coming down Buddy Holly Place. So, and that's all I have. So, you know, again, this is something we've been working on for probably, so that's quite a bit of work in about a month. And, you know, we've been working, a small group of us on this project, trying to work towards that development of a application to the state for the placemaking division of the Destination Iowa funding. So we still got a long way to go on some projects and things that we have to flesh out in a lot of detail, but we haven't provided an update until tonight, so we wanted to give you an update as to where things are. So we've got some issues that we'll be bringing probably at the meeting on the 19th, related more to some of the projects there and how they might be financed and how those structures might work, but want to give you a kind of a idea where things are at and get your reaction to it. I'd invite Creighton or Jeff, either one. They've been with me the whole way on this, working through this, so if they've got anything they would want to add, I'd sure welcome them to do so, but if you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to take those. Mayor, you might elaborate. You've been involved there. So.
Yeah, I'm going to cut Jeff off here before he can get up there. He'll steal my thunder anyway. But, you know, I think it's a great, as my colleague to my left here, you know, attributes a lot of the positive historical aspects of this community. Well, I think this particular project takes some of those historical aspects and brings them not necessarily to the moment at the present time, but certainly visionary, and that's what it's all about. So, you know, the old history lesson is you take from the past, you look at the moment, and you plan for the future. And I think that's what this shows me, anyway, is that what can be done with that area where we have, in my opinion, where we have the number one asset of this community is the lake. And to be able to make use of that lake to coordinate it with the second most important, other than my home, I gotta be careful here now, is the surf ballroom. The surf ballroom stands out in my mind to couple it with the lake as two of the most important things that I see in this community. And this couples them and expands that to an unbelievable degree. To take that hotel and make it look like the old Oaks Hotel, well, there are parts of it you can't do because of ADA requirements, but into the bottom floor as being a boutique area, making it a boutique hotel, totally unique to this town, totally unique to this area. The Surf Ballroom is a national landmark, a national landmark. There are only, as Scott says, 27 of them, I think I got those numbers right, in the state of Iowa, and we are one of those. And only what, 2,500 in the United States, something like that. That's Lori's memory up here. But, you know, wow, what we have here and what we can do with this area as an entertainment district for the community. Already we have done North Shore Drive between the surf area and our downtown retail area. You know, what a unique retail area is being developed as we speak and over the past few years. So this puts it all together, and nice job, Scott, of arranging all that so that we can see this progression. And once again, maybe only visionary, but that's why we are applying for this particular grant through Destination Iowa Career Placemaking. Did I get that right?
Close it off. Yeah, and I would mention, you hit on all the right things when, and you were there, Mayor, several times when Debbie Durham, the director of the department, had mentioned to think big was her mandate to us. So we've tried to think big and dream a large dream here. So, but I appreciate you mentioned that about the one of only 27 in the state of Iowa National Historic Landmarks. And, you know, as we sat there at the Department of Economic Development and we started showing pictures of what the actual district looks like with some of the, you know, what I would kind of refer to in semi-blighted condition, many of these properties, it's disappointing. You know, as I sat there, I was like, let's hurry up and roll through that. But that's how it looks. You know, we've got some properties there, and I applaud the nonprofit and the owners for having the initiative to want to make improvements beyond just their own property, because some of the properties that are on these slides that would no longer be there don't represent that district the way it should be. And so I think what we've come up with here really enhances, remove some blighted areas, but enhances that one of only 27 National Historic Landmarks. Again, you know, we did that years ago with the old Nelson Amico property. Probably people have forgotten about that, but that became basically an abandoned gas station, and the ground was contaminated and groundwater issues there, and the city stepped in and bought that property and turned it into a park, you know, to enhance it. And I remember at the time I commented it was disappointing because we've got this national treasure, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame designated property, just a hop, skip, and a jump away from an abandoned gas station. And sadly, some of the other properties have kind of fallen into a pattern of neglect. And I think at some time, the city government has to take the initiative to reverse those trends, or they'll keep going the other way. And so I think that's what this plan is all about, trying to reverse some of those blighting influences in that area and promote, you know, what we have there.
Yeah,
None of this would happen if these people who are sitting in the audience here, you know, if it wasn't, number one, for Dean and Joanne Snyder to buy that surf ballroom when it was going downhill. Well, it was being held, let's say, at one level. And, you know, now we have it run by, you know, Jeff and Dale and Paul and the glue, Lori, you know, that keeps it all together, and Shane. You know, without that, we wouldn't even get a start here. And so we are coupling these two great things. And Beth Ann Schumacher would probably say, and thousands used to come here in the late 1800s for the Chautauqua, unload the train right there, and it's coming back. Maybe we say again to something similar to that. So I'll shut up. Jeff, you want to?
Well, anyway, I'm Jeff Nicholas. I'm a member of the Board of Directors of the North Iowa Cultural Center and Museum, and I've seen that presentation a number of times, and I get goosebumps every time I see it. We have such a wonderful community here. We have such a wonderful national landmark. The people come from all over the country and all over the world, and it's almost a little embarrassing. They almost worship it. They worship what it stands for, and it stands for Clear Lake, and it stands for North Iowa. And I'll reiterate what Scott said. You know, I drive by there all the time, dozens and dozens, hundreds of times, but it wasn't until we got to Des Moines we started looking at some of these pictures, and I thought, oh my gosh, does it really? Does that neighborhood really look like that? We need, you know, we really need to do something. So we're not only supportive, but we're tremendously excited about the opportunities and the things that might be able to happen. I obviously thank the mayor and Scott's leadership on this. They have been just steadfast in all this. And we started out dreaming, and to be honest with you, we're still dreaming a little bit. But it's time to put the pedal to the metal and get going and move forward and get this thing done. We'll do everything in our power to support and help the city and the entire community. We're all volunteers. We don't benefit financially for any of this stuff. We just love this community, and we want to do what we can do to make it better. Thank
Council comments?
Yes, Mayor, I think, again, it's a fabulous project, a real opportunity for transformational development down there. Like you've stated, it's a national historic landmark, and I think, Scott, you made a great point earlier, and Jeff, you did too. It really suffers from a lack of investment down there over the years in different parts of it. So I think what's exciting to me about this is a unique opportunity to catalyze that increased development down there in a lot of different directions. I mean, you put a lot of interesting concepts on the board there, and, you know, not all of them might come to fruition, but I think there's a lot of terrific concepts up there that really dramatically increase the destination site that the surf is. It's already a fantastic destination site, but having a boutique hotel in a waterfront area like that, I mean, I just think that's truly transformational for our community in terms of the broader economic and cultural impact. So very exciting. Thank you for all the work you've put in on it, and we'll look forward to supporting this wholeheartedly down the road. So, and thank you to everyone here tonight to support it.
I'm just old enough to remember not the old surf, but a variety of things in Clear Lake. And I'm thrilled to see the attention to detail in trying to include some of the other history in this whole project. I remember one of my first trips to the Lighthouse Drive-In, and it was A&W root beer in the summer and only open in the summer. Also, for those of you that don't know the first history of that, it was a felling station originally on Highway 18, which 7th Avenue North and North Shore Drive were Highway 18 before they built it where it is now, just in case you didn't know that. But anyway, I'm sitting at the A&W Drive-In, and there's a teenager getting out of an old Chevy across the parking lot there. And he'd been flirting with the car hops, and I'm just a little kid sitting in the back seat looking out the window. And he's talking to one of the gals, and I can overhear the conversation. He says, "Yeah, I got bucket seats in this car." And it's just a beat-up old Chevy. I mean, it should have been in the junkyard. So I'm thinking, well, that's kind of cool. So he opens the door, and sure enough, he had a bucket seat. It was a metal 5-gallon bucket that he was sitting on. So anyway, that has nothing to do with all of this, but maybe a little levity for the evening.
Well, let's add to that levity a little bit, Mike. When the first time you were there, did they have those little baby mugs that you used?
Oh, yeah. Kid mugs, you know, the little bitty kid mugs for, yeah, it was all part of pretty neat time in Clear Lake to grow up.
This is going to be an exciting project.
Thank you. Thank you. Great presentation, great follow-up.
Jubei, I think, right? He's been with me the whole time.
Oh.
So,
It's probably more interesting to hear another story from Mike. Just to echo everybody's comments and the great opportunity we have ahead of us here, really specifically with the Destination Iowa grant and the placemaking category that this project falls into. And one thing that's come up time and time again is the short timeline that we've had. So approximately 70 days from when they released the actual guidelines here to when we need to have this application in by September 30th. And it's such a significant grant across the state. But this bucket, 70-day timeline, you can request up to 40% of your signature projects. So there's big money out there, and there's been big projects already awarded. Dyersville, Marion, just to name a few of them. So what a great opportunity to put Clear Lake on that list as well. And you can see as they're looking at these projects, they are looking for big ideas. And big ideas that not only draw from those that are within our state, But for people, of course, as we've all seen, I'm sure everyone here saw some sort of the Field of Dreams that they've had the last couple of years with the major league teams playing there, and how many people that has drawn to the state. So those are the type of big projects we're looking at here, and really believe that we have one right here in Clear Lake as well. And with that 70-day timeline, it's really tight. We all know it's tight, but the good part of that is everybody else has that 70-day timeline as well. So we just have to do our 70 days better than everybody else out there and make sure that our project is super impactful and that we get it in there in 70 days. One other big idea with the placemaking that they've stressed is a project that you can't pick up and place somewhere else in the state. And I might be wrong, but I don't think you can pick up the Surf Ballroom or Clear Lake and place that anywhere else in the state. So we have an opportunity, and especially as Scott is showing up on here, with linking the lake directly to the Surf Ballroom, our two biggest assets. We have the opportunity to link those in a way that everyone who visits this community, everyone who lives in this community will be able to utilize really in an exciting way. And as we look at the project, I really love looking at it from that direction, where you're coming in from the lake, you're seeing our Surf Ballroom, you're going from the Surf Ballroom, you might be at an event, you might be a wedding at the Surf Ballroom, and then where are you gonna stay? In the past, you'd have to get a ride probably if you had a few too many drinks at the dinner or something like that, but now you go right over into our own boutique style hotel. Now you're staying in that district. Now you're staying there a couple nights, that sort of thing. As they say, you're also trying to draw people to stay, not only stay there for a couple nights and visit, but then maybe people are thinking about coming back and living in the community in the future. And these type of projects are projects that are able to do that. Of course, the hotel project is big for me, just coming from the hotel industry. One project that I've mentioned multiple times is the Coralville Marriott. It's now the Hyatt, but the Coralville Marriott that they did down in Coralville in the Iowa River Landing, they really used that hotel there as a signature project. And over the past, I guess we're heading in about 15 years now, they've continued to develop. I was just there this last weekend, and what they've done to that area is incredible. And it's just starting with a project and getting another anchor project and another one from there. And that's really what this seeks to do, is we have a couple anchor signature projects that we submit to the state and hopefully get some funding on those and get that ball rolling. As Scott said, there's already multiple individuals interested in other development opportunities. So yeah, just an exciting project. I'm glad to be a part of it, and hopefully we do the 70 days really well and end up with some funding at the end of it and a great start to a wonderful project.
Thanks, Creed.
I was just going to mention, on the, with respect to the 453 North Shore Drive, we showed a lot about that. So we did have an opportunity to meet with the owner of that property, a wonderful gentleman and very positive about Clear Lake, long history here. And, we didn't, the last thing we wanted was to show what we were showing tonight with those perspectives from the lake without the benefit of talking to that person. And so we did have that opportunity. It was a great get together, and appreciate Jeff and Creighton coming along, and we had Pat from RDG there as well, but real good, productive meeting. So I just wanted to point out that we did speak to that person. We took in quite a bit of liberties with that property in the presentation, but it was not without him being aware of that in advance.
Thank you. Chief? We'll now have the swearing-in ceremony for Patrol Officers Ryan Lind and Yedika Kober, and then the administration of the oath. And that right down here in front of the dais would be great. you please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Brian Homer,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa
and the ordinances of the City of Clear Lake,
and the ordinances of the City of Clear Lake,
and will faithfully discharge the duties
and will faithfully discharge the duties
of police officer for the City of Clear Lake
of police officer for the City of Clear Lake
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
and that I will serve
and that I will serve
the citizens of the United States,
the citizens of the United States,
the State of Iowa,
the State of Iowa,
and the City of Clear Lake,
and the City of Clear Lake,
honestly and faithfully,
honestly and faithfully,
and will obey the orders
and will obey the orders
of the officers and officials
of the officers and officials
placed over me according to law.
placed over me according to law.
Congratulations, officer.
Thank you, Mayor.
Let's give him a hand.
Council, I don't really have anything. Our stats from July and August are in your packet. If there's any questions, I can answer them, but I don't have any other report other than that.
Fine. Anybody? Thanks. Thanks. Creighton? And Jeremy's not here. We don't have any from, did he, okay, under mayor's report, just real quick, quick summer wrap. I think the gals in our office have done a wonderful job, Jennifer included, and Hope and Brittany and Aaron. This summer was a busy, busy time, and the number of reservations that we've had for the Lakeview Room and all of the parks and places at the park where one could go for picnicking have really been, I think, at a record level. Our Park and Rec with Jim and Seth and Mary Jo and Adam, what a wonderful job. That pool ran very, very smoothly this summer. I don't know if these guys get much credit, but the guys that do the mowing for PW, man, they've been really humming this summer. We haven't had too much dry weather for them to not have anything, but they've done, well, I don't even know their names. They're wonderful guys. They really are. Great cooperation from the chamber and, of course, the surf. You know, we really have enjoyed working with those folks. Scott?
Just going to mention at this point, we're halfway through the meeting, so don't anybody leave. No, I was just going to mention, we had the walkthrough on the South 15th Street Inclusive Park and Playground project here last week, so the bid letting on that is the 13th, so hopeful for good results on that, so you'll have that on the docket, consideration of an award, construction contract on that for the meeting on the 19th, so hopefully we're coming back with good news, so that's all I got.